Hello everybody. I want to title this video Street Fighting Tips number 2 and 3. The first tip I gave you was if you can stay out of one, stay out of a fight because they're not safe. Tip number 2 is bump all that jawing. Forget all that jawing, all that conflicting with somebody. When people get in each other's face and start talking and yapping, it's about one of the dumbest things you can do. There's no point to it because it's just going to escalate the situation for one. It's going to make it a situation you can't get out of. And you know what? It's better to be alive than be proud. You know, I'm bad about this. I got bad pride. I got a bad temper. So sometimes I don't do this. And I've in the past been known to jaw, getting in somebody's face, blah, 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 blah. And that's most certainly going to end up in a fight. So don't do it. And don't do all that pushing crap either, pushing somebody. Forget that. Because that goes into tip number 3. Always expect the sucker punch. If you jawing with somebody else and there's insults flying back and forth, especially if you in somebody's face, I can guarantee you probably 90-something% of the time you're going to get sucker punched. Just one smart word, a lot of times you'll get sucker punched. I've been sucker punched more times than I can count. I remember one of the worst ones I had, I was in middle school at the time, I believe, and I used to ride the bus, and I walked off the bus, and I was actually still in the doorway. As soon as I got my foot to the last step, dude came around the corner of the little exit of the bus and hit me, clocked me straight in the chin, knocked me downstairs off the bus, and then what happened? Then I got jumped. So that was no good. At another time in middle school, dude tried to grab my hat, tried to steal my hat from me. He reached up and touched my hat, and I reached up to grab my hat back and yank it out of his hand, and boom, clocked. Straight sucker punch. Then what happened? I got jumped again, and I'm getting stomped on by a couple dudes. So you can avoid it all costs, but stay out of people's faces, John, because you're going to get hit, you're going to get sucker punched, and it's just going to escalate the conflict. If not, it's going to get one of his homies that's behind you, and then you're going to get jumped. So tip 1, stay out of the fight. Tip 2, bump all that jawing and pushing and shoving. Tip number 3, always expect the sucker punch.